Rob, you're like
Yes.
over me. You're like literally like a god.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Preaching over you. Repent now, or something or other.
We are joined by Rob Manuel. Manuel or Manuel, or how do you want to be? How's that?
Rob Manuel.
Manuel. I went very
Yeah.
Spanish with you there. Rob.
Yeah, Manuel.
Yeah. Well, that's always been the family legends, that somehow we were washed up on the beaches of Scotland as part of the Spanish Armada. But, my dad did tell a lot of rubbish stories, so who knows, yeah.
Well, look, he is the man behind @Fesshole, the Twitter sensation. 1 million followers where people anonymously go to this page and confess their sins and the worst things they've done in life or things they just have on their mind. And Rob will be bringing Fesshole, his stage show, to the Laughter Lounge in Dublin on Thursday, the 18th of April. You can get tickets from laughterlounge.com. But Rob, welcome to the show. I want to know, how did you start this page? How did it become the page it is today?
It was just absolutely pure luck, just bored one afternoon. And I thought, it might be interesting to ask people to submit a few confessions, just on my personal Twitter account. And I opened a web form, and I thought, what I'll do, I'll just get a few coming in, and I'll just tweet them out on my own account. And people were really into it. It was just one of those things where you just stumbled on a little thing that was just a bored thing to do one afternoon, and people really liked it. And so I branded it up and called it Fesshole, and then I forgot about it for 3 months. And then people started messaging me going, what are you doing? What happened to this idea you were doing Fesshole? I'm really interested in that. It was like, people are never interested in my ideas. And I was like, oh my God, maybe there's something in this one. So then I just started pumping it out and making it go. And the numbers were just extraordinary. Like, in literally after that little gap, then within the first week, it had 10,000 followers, and it just kept banging on and on and on. And it was like, okay, people like this. I don't know why, but they do.
Do some of the confessions that you've stumbled upon, does it make you question humanity?
I've been questioning humanity and my own life decisions for a long time. But yeah, I don't understand why men are so disgusting. It's just sort of like, it's endlessly, I don't publish most of it, but there's just endless men confessing to, who they fancy. And I just don't publish that stuff. Endless men confessing about where they pee, and I don't publish that stuff. It's just men are grotty, nasty people. Okay. And yeah, I want to opt out of humanity. I'm going to come back as a stone or something.
Roughly how many confessions are you getting a day? And it's just you now running the account, because 1 million followers is just mind-blowing. So do you have a team of people working, pumping them out, or is it just you scanning the messages?
It's just me. It's literally me. I read them and I choose what goes out. Approximately between 200 and 400 come in a day. And I just wake up and I read the damn things and I go, oh, that's funny. Oh, can't publish that. It's that simple. Yeah.
So you have a bit of a filter. Do you have a favorite confession that, sticks?
I do. My favorite one involved a guy, and he said he was like listening. Well, he just was hearing noises one night. He was hearing kind of the noises of lovemaking coming through the wall. And he got quite excited by this. And then he thought he would join in a bit of solo lovemaking, being kind of so erotically charged by listening to these noises through the wall. Until he eventually realized it was the coos of a pigeon. I just loved that one.
Brilliant.
He was bashing the bishop to pigeon noises.
Rob, how are you bringing this to a stage show? Because you're doing Dublin's Laughter Lounge on Thursday.
We are, yeah.
April. So you are a stand-up comedian, but you also have this page. So how are you combining the two?
Well, okay. It's a two-part show, and the first part is like a stand-up kind of set where I'm basically going through the best material. I'm giving it a sort of historical context within the stuff that I've done previously and doing some of the best of that. I'm also doing sort of like life lessons that I've learned from reading now what is 250,000 of horrible confessions. So that's the first half. And then the second half is we get to the audience confessions. And the first part's great. Of course, the first part's great, but I really love the second part, because for me, that's the bit where it's different every time, because we're working with the audience. And so I know exactly who's coming to the show, because everything's online these days. I've got the emails of the ticket buyers. And so I've emailed everyone who's coming going, would you submit something for the show? And then people are divided into two camps, whether they want to talk to me as part of the show or they want to remain anonymous. And then we've turned that into a massive PowerPoint presentation. And we go through all the audience, getting their confessions and chatting to them or not chatting to them, finding out whether they're forgiven or not forgiven from the audience reactions. And that bit it's genuinely funny and it's cathartic. And people message me afterwards saying, I've not been through an experience like that. That was incredible. Thank you. You know, it's really worth doing. It's really good fun.
Are you ever surprised by the openness of some people that are willing to share their confession?
I am shocked. Yeah, I'm shocked by what the things that people are prepared to say in a public forum. We had a police officer telling us how they let off people who stole petrol from the garage because they just thought, you know, petrol costs too much these days, and we ended up getting the whole audience like shouting a rude word about the Shell oil company in unison. We once had like in Manchester, we had like one guy who wanted to talk about how he was part of a little WhatsApp group where they exchanged fart noises, and that was quite nice because we were able to then hold up his phone to the microphone and like exchange them. But as it happened, we had another person's confession was that they were part of a larger fart sharing WhatsApp group, and we were able to live induct and combine these two fart groups as part of the show. And there's just something we had like in Northampton, we had like a guy who was he called himself Bad Dad, and he was there with his daughter, and his daughter was like talking about how she snorted you know, his ex-wife and her mother's ashes at the funeral. And the dad was like trying to outdo her by boasting about doing rude things with his mother, her grandmother's underwear drawer, and it was just like, how are you saying this stuff in public? How are you okay to say this with your own face? But they were happy to do it and say fine.
Well,
I'm just a conduit to horror.
Exactly. I presume everything stays within the room, though. That is
what's
it.
in the room. Well,
Yeah,
beyond me, sort of like anonymously, like telling you guys what goes on in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true. This sounds
But
like,
yeah, we don't record the shows or stream them or something like that because it's like, yeah, just make it part of the room.
tweeted out maybe a confession of your own that you have wanted to stay anonymous. Did you use your own?
Yeah,
server?
yeah. Well, you know, in the first like day or something of it being live, I did pepper it with a handful of my own ones because you're just trying to crank up the machine to make it work, you know. But I only did it in that exact early period. And the one I remember was it was just a very, very mild confession, but it was a big deal in my own house, which was I ate my son's Easter egg because, you know, it's like late at night and it was there, and I was like, oh, shove it in. I'll apologize and get a new one tomorrow. And he was genuinely upset about it, and I felt terrible, you know.
You probably felt better after confessing it on Fesshole.
I felt better, yes, but my son was not happy about it. So I had to get him two new Easter eggs after that. Yeah.
This sounds like an incredible show. And if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I want a part of that, you can get tickets from laughterlounge.com. Of course, it is happening on Thursday, the 18th of April. Rob from the Twitter sensation that is at Fesshole, thank you so much for joining us on Graham and Nathan. You're an absolute legend, and best of luck with all the shows. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye. I was just trying to get that behind your head. Nearly made it work.
But
it's all left, right, backwards. Anyway, thank you so much for having me on. Thank you guys. Been brilliant. Cheers. And everyone, just do come to the show.